Oh CHEBUKATI, wara umekuva ku na vile wa Kenya wote wamegokani. Wara umekuva ku tazama tanga kwa waruya na Wakenya wote tume miziki para ukika kwa IPC.
Many people have a lot of questions as to why some of the Kenyans are celebrating the death of the former IEBC chairperson Wafula CHEBUKATI. These are some of the things that led to this celebration. Many Kenyans, mostly those who support ODM, they accuse him of declaring the current president of Kenya as the winner in general election held in 2022. They claim that Raila Odinga's victory was denied in the last general election. But I want to take you through the former chairperson of Electoral Bodies in Kenya since 1997. This is the time when this country was being ruled by KANU regime under President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Samuel Kivuito, born in 1939 and died in February 2013, oversaw the general election in 1997, also conducted the general election in 2002 when Mwai Kibaki won the election and became the president of Kenya. Samuel Kivuito also oversaw the constitutional referendum which was conducted in 2005 between Orange and Banana, where Orange won. Kivuito was reappointed by President Mwai Kibaki ahead of 2007 general election. By the time the electoral body was called Electoral Commission of Kenya (ECK), 2007 general election will be remembered by many Kenyans as one of the violent elections in Kenya. After the election, there erupted post-election violence that led to countrywide demonstration. Kibaki went to the ballot against Raila Odinga of Orange Democratic Movement ODM. In this election, the tally started. The early tally result showed Raila Odinga leading with a big margin, but later the results started turning in favor of Mwai Kibaki. ODM supporters started celebrating with hope of Raila Odinga being named the president of Kenya. But things turned otherwise. The post-election violence stemmed from a number of issues such as election malpractices, fraudulent in election, and even altering of the results. The chairman of ECK, Samuel Kivuito, announced Mwai Kibaki as the winner of the election. And boom, there were chaos all over the country. ODM party candidate Raila Odinga disputed the election results and called for countrywide protests.
Fellow Kenyans, we have in the last 2 days witnessed tensions running high in our nation. Kenyans are deeply disturbed and angered by the attempt of this government to steal this election through a process that was fraudulent at every step of the way. The people know that they voted to reject the incumbent and put in place a president and a government they will have faith in. That is why they have elected me as the president.
This escalated to a targeted ethnic violence, and mostly in Rift Valley province. Kikuyu who are living there were targeted and were casualties. It turned to be ethnic violence between communities. People were killed. People were burnt alive in a church, Kiambaville, Eldoret town. These people, being women, children, and elderly, went to seek refuge in a church after the eruption of chaos and violence. More than 50 people died in that incident. On his part, Samuel Kivuito once said that he never knew who won the election in 2007.
First of all, you are not really an agent. You are not an agent. You are not an agent. Now, what I'm saying is this. If it is impossible for me to carry on my work, I can go home. Yeah.
This was the first incident where nusu mkate government was formed to calm down the country. There was a dialogue, and on February 28, 2008, Kibaki and Odinga signed a power-sharing agreement, National Accord and Reconciliation Act 2008, which established the office of Prime Minister and created a coalition government. We moved to 2013 general election, whereby the former president Uhuru Kenyatta and the current president William Samoei Ruto went to the ballot against Raila Odinga. This was ended by the newly constituted Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission (IEBC), and the chairperson was Ahmed Isaac Hassan, who served up to 2016. In 2013 general election, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto won the elections against Raila Odinga of ODM party. Here, Raila Odinga contested the election in Supreme Court unsuccessfully. At least the country did not plunge into chaos as was witnessed in 2007. Wafula Chebukati, born in 19 December 1961 in Bungoma County. He was appointed by the then President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2017 and succeeded Ahmed Isaac Hassan. He oversaw 2017 general elections and 2022 general election. He was the first to complete his 6-year term in Kenya. However, in this general election that were held on August, President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were declared the winner of the election against Raila Odinga. Odinga and supporters disputed this election, citing malpractices in the whole process.
We will therefore shortly move to court to challenge the outcome that the IEBC announced a few hours ago. We want to appeal to all Kenyans to respect the rule of law and the constitution of which they are so proud. Let the Supreme Court determine whether the result announced by the IEBC is a lawful one.
They went to Supreme Court and a landmark judgment was made. The election was cancelled. Maraga saying it was invalid, null and void, and then he called for another election. That was a landmark judgment concerning elections in Kenya.
The presidential election held on 8th August 2017 was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law, rendering the declared results invalid, null, and void.
Thank you.
The re-election was done on 26 October 2017. However, after the nullification of this election, Raila Odinga gave one condition to disband the whole IEBC and appoint new commissioners to man the election because they had failed to deliver. However, IEBC disputed this and continued to prepare for re-election. This angered Raila Odinga, and in turn of events, he called a presser and announced that he will not be contesting in re-election, citing lack of transparency in the IEBC. Wafula Chebukati conducted re-election and Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto were elected again as no other candidate was in the ballots. The last election that Wafula Chebukati oversaw, it is 2022 general election. This time, Raila Odinga had joined forces with Uhuru Kenyatta, and in turn of events, William Ruto being the deputy president was overlooked. William Ruto formed UDA and coalition of Kenya Kwanza, which saw him win election and became the president against Raila Odinga, who was supported by the then government of Uhuru Kenyatta. Many saying that Odinga was to win because he was supported by the government machinery. However, Wafula Chebukati announced in a chaotic incident William Samoei Ruto as the winner of the election.
Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president. of the Republic of Kenya under the provisions of Article 138 of the Constitution in the presidential election held on 9th of day of August 2022.
Again, Raila Odinga with our running mate Martha Karua disputing the election results, saying that they had robbed Raila Odinga's victory. They went to court but did not succeed. CHEBUKATI found himself at the center of intense political controversy. 4 of his commissioners disowned the final result, led by the then vice chairperson Juliana Cherera.
We cannot take ownership of the results that is going to be announced because of the opaque nature. We'll give details of this opaque nature.
This is one of the reasons as to why most Kenyans today are angered by Wafula Chebukati. They say that if Wafula Chebukati didn't declare Ruto as a winner, they couldn't be going through what they are going in this country. All the problems that they are undergoing, they are now blaming Wafula Chebukati. Remember, Wafula Chebukati was a lawyer in this country who practiced law for a long time. He was awarded the Elder of the Order of the Golden Heart, EGH, which is the Kenya's second highest award to a civilian, by President Uhuru Kenyatta. He also contested for Saboti Member of Parliament in 2007 election, but became the second. As the family of Chebukati is planning for the burial on 8 March 2025, Kenyans are continuing to make a comic of his death, many saying that they don't mourn him, they are celebrating that he died. Others are saying that he shouldn't have died and left Kenyans in this agony. He should have stayed longer so that they can continue suffering under the current regime. My question is, when will Kenya elections be conducted in a fairly manner? When will Kenyans election be free and fair? Out of politics, as we are also preparing for general election in 2027, the new IBC commission is yet to be set. The opposition leaders are accusing the current regime of Dr. William Ruto of trying to sabotage the IBC that is yet to be formed so that it will favor him in the coming general election 2027. We are waiting to see how the commission will be formed and how it will conduct itself so that the will of Kenyans will be heard and executed fairly come 2027.
Na vile Wakenya wote wamegoka Chebukati wala umekufa ku tazama tanga kwa waruya na Wakenya wote tumemiziki para ukika kwa IP